The truth about low-level
laser
light therapy.
In the 21st century, the gears of progress will continue to drive innovation for the benefit of all humanity. The city of tomorrow promises to be full of wonder and seemingly magical inventions. Why, even transportation options will be plentiful and exciting as we've never seen before. Here we have what appears to be a team of scientists working on a new contraption. What could this embodiment of wonder possibly be? Will this be the latest hair-drying apparatus of the lady of the house during her next visit to the salon? Oh look! Here we have the hair transplant mentor investigating this newfound contraption and its properties. Looking good, Joe!
So now we're going to be talking about lasers, laser hair restoration, and the facts that you need to know about laser low-level, LLLT, low-level laser therapy for your hair loss. The first fact about laser devices is that they're not so new. The first laser device that got FDA clearance was back in 2007, but lasers have been around a much longer time. In fact, it wasn't too long after lasers were first invented that a Hungarian scientist way back in 1967 was the first person to notice or to think that he noticed that there was some sort of hair regrowth stimulation from lasers. This scientist was actually trying to see if laser lights would cause cancer, and he was using laboratory mice for this experiment. And what he found out was not only did it not cause cancer, but these mice that had been shaved down were regrowing their hair at a faster rate. Now, does that prove anything? No, because the mice were already shaved and they weren't bald. There was nothing genetic about them that prevented them from having hair to begin with. So it was kind of a very vague observation. Personally, I'm not so sure he wasn't using these lasers just to shoot at some small creatures, just like any other 10-year-old kid would do with a magnifying glass on a sunny day.
I have a better magnifying glass, but it's in the garage right now.
So that was a full 40 years before the first device on the market got any sort of FDA, we'll call it recognition. And that brings us to fact number 2. We're talking about the differences between FDA clearance and FDA approval. And currently, all the medical devices on the market that are laser hair restoration systems of any sort are FDA cleared. You can't have an FDA approved device because that will require it to be a level 3 device, and level 3 devices are life-threatening devices if they fail, such as dialysis machines, pacemakers, MRIs, x-rays, things like that. With laser hair restoration systems, they're classified as class 2, which is not so dangerous, but the thing about 510K clearance, you have to prove a substantial equivalence to other items that are already on the market. So what that means is that these laser hair restoration devices are not excitingly new technology. The third fact that you need to understand is that there are 3 classes of laser hair restoration systems. So those 3 systems are your caps and helmets, your brushes and combs, and your hood systems, like I showed you earlier. The caps and helmets, they look like baseball caps or some sort of helmet. I think there's one model out there that has speakers so you can listen to music, but they all have laser diodes on the inside or the underside, and the differences are simply the aesthetics or the build quality. I'm sure there's differences in build quality and the number of diodes, which seems to be the latest trend where these manufacturers are talking about their differences being with the number of diodes versus the competition. Then you have your combs and brushes, and then you have the hood systems. What do the three of those systems have in common? They all are classified as Class 3 laser devices, which operate at roughly the 600 nanometer wavelength and have a 5 milliwatt output. So let's take a moment and look at that hood system that I just happen to have here in the Mentor Labs. There are three fundamental parts to this. There's the base, which you saw earlier, and then there's the articulating arm, which moves the hood around, and then there's the hood itself. There we go. So you can see how this thing moves around, and you got all these laser diodes in here. There's actually 115, and these shoot out the laser light. If we have a closer look at this thing, there we go. Yeah, so the lights are on. You can see how it illuminates my hand, and that's how it works. Okay, so you can obviously see there's not much to it, and I can only hope and speculate that this case and tower is so big because it needs to hold up the articulating arm, which is heavy. Anyway, so that brings me to my final point. In 2007, when low-level laser therapy systems first started to get their FDA clearance, I was one of the loudest opponents to this because no one at the time could tell me how this technology worked in relation to hair restoration or making hair grow. Explanations ranged from it excites the mitochondria, it stimulates hair cell division, biophotosynthesis, all these things that really no one can verify. And guess what? Here we are 10 years later after the first FDA cleared device hit the market, and still no one can explain how LLLT works. But here's the thing. Over the past few years that I've been traveling the world and visiting dozens of clinics, I can say without a doubt, and this is really hard, LLLT therapy does work. Yes, I said it. My foot is in my mouth. But like I've always said, I will always admit when I'm wrong. And when it comes to low-level laser light therapy, I hate saying that, I was wrong. It does work. You can see in this photo, I mean, this one's from one of the doctors I work with. If you look closely, there is an improvement. It's very mild, but there's an improvement. And these are very telling photos that can really show you the details. I've seen all kinds of other photos in person, and I've seen live results as well, where the patients have sworn to me that the only thing they've done is have some sort of LLLT device. With that said, it works. What can I say? It's not a replacement for medical therapy such as finasteride, minoxidil. It sure as hell isn't a replacement for hair transplant surgery. But it is something that can be an adjunct, something you can add to the arsenal to fight hair loss, and that's what we're all here for. So with that, adios, stay tuned, like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. A lot more classes coming up. It's just so little time for me to do these. So thank you for your patience. A lot of work goes into this, so your support is greatly appreciated. Peace!